So, welcome back, everybody. Oh, wait a minute. I should totally do it like Critical Role does. Let's do this. Where is it? There we go.
What happened?
Well, that's what happens with a character, guys. You don't get to be at the table.
Is he dead? We don't know.
He's flapping his arms as fast as he can right now.
In direct trajectory downwards.
You should just put your hands in front of your head and just full on dive it out,
Where we last left off. On the morning of the 6th day, the team, having recovered from their previous couple days of shenanigans with Karina nearly perishing, as well as Forn nearly perishing, surviving the auction house and beginning to embrace the new shop that they had bought, the team split up into 2 groups. One group going with Forn to track down a contact that he had put one of his tokens with, in hopes of learning more about who was organizing and who might be at the very heart of the heist of the painting that seemed to have exposed a gateway into the Fae. Although what came through that gateway was not quite what was expected. Here, Karina and Melody headed over to the Airy Spire to speak with a familiar individual in regards to maybe getting some connections and supplies for the shop. Here they visited the Worm's Hoard, the Saffron Sun Imports, and other locations in hopes of possibly adding stock to their shop. So happened that they met a member of the Chandei Quorum, who was having to deal with an absent owner of a shop, and they bought the entire content of the Saffron Sun Imports, hoping to give them a good start at their business. However, it was Eritrea, Trauma, and Forn's pursuit of some suspicious individuals that they thought might have been linked to the dead body that they had found related to the auction house heist that had transpired the previous day. With Forn going one direction, Eritrea going another, and the Traumaton going another direction. Eritrea, unfortunately, could not catch up with his ill-fated target as they fell off the cliff's edge to their death. Forn losing track of their target. However, it was Trauma who was right on the heels of their target, who had fled into a mine shaft, began to crawl up a chain bucket, trying to get up through the air shaft that that allowed the mine shaft to function. Deep within the mine, Trauma pursued, got slightly above his target, and did a classic Trauma move. Leapt off the side of an 80-foot shaft, hoping to clamber onto the bucket and capture their target. Unfortunately, in die-hard format, missing the bucket and slowly falling backwards. Eritrea and Forn, the two of you are still down in the lower portions of the core spire. Losing track of your quarry, now you're beginning to wonder where Trauma is.
Okay.
I think we got to like a split, a Y, and started to go opposite directions, trying to figure out where this person was.
Yeah. Give me a survival check for the two of you as you begin going in different directions.
All right, taking my dice, not a dice jail.
Well, when there's more than one dice in jail, isn't that technically a prison?
That's a good call. Hey, I'll take it. That's a 20. 30, nice. 20.
Ooh.
And a 10 for Forn.
10 for me, yeah.
Yeah. Forn, your trail grows cold after about 2 or 3 minutes. Eritrea, you find bits of debris and brickwork that look to be loosened abruptly from up above You look up to see where it looks like maybe somebody has climbed up onto the top of the roofs from within the alleyway that you're in.
I'll start doubling back if, like, once it's cold, I'm turning around and coming back.
Yeah, you start racing backwards, and as you come back, within about a minute or so down the one alley, you look to see Eritrea looking up at the roof line of the second-story building that's built into the spire's edge. Eritrea's also got some debris at his feet.
I would like to attempt to climb this wall, and I hope I have better luck than Foreign did.
Well, let me help you up.
Yeah,
Like,
you watch his Foreign
I'll
slides
I'll
alongside
push you
you.
up there, right?
Yeah, give me athletics or acrobatics as you try to climb the wall, Eritrea.
Oh, 9.
9.
That die
As
is
well, technically, did you do that with advantage?
No, I did not.
Yeah, I would say Foreign
like
giving you
I'm
advantage.
helping
Yeah,
shove you up there. So
yeah.
All right, then a 12.
12. You kind of get boosted up. You get a handhold and a foothold, and you kind of drag yourself up, and you can slowly pull yourself up over the edge of the roof line. But as soon as you get to the edge, it crumbles underneath your weight, and you come tumbling back down. You kind of land next to Foreign, but kind of like in a halting motion as you take 3 points of falling damage from the effort. Now there's a much kind of like larger chunk of the roof collapsed. You also notice further down the way that you were going, 4 wardens seem to have taken an interest in your activity.
you want to?
Yeah, I'm a little hurt.
I'm not good at talking to them fellas. If you want to talk to them, boost me up here, and you try and tell them what I mean. Suspicious folks. We're chasing suspicious folks.
Yes,
You know
we're
how
just
it
trying to help the community.
is. Yeah, sure.
And so are you? I'm going to call them over here. And
But give me a leg up first.
yes, I was just trying to go up.
Foreign, give me acrobatics or athletics with advantage.
No, I don't make it. I rolled a 1 and a 2.
Oh no!
Look,
Climbing is not our party's deal.
climbing, you know.
Foreign
Eritrea-
is just not a climber. He's just
Yeah.
Right. It's the coat. It's the I get
Yeah.
tangled in the coat, you know. It's all flashy
Eritrea
and
does that
fancy.
classic thinking that Foreign is fine and goes to walk away to go get the attention of the wardens. And, Foreign doesn't even have a grip on anything yet. So Foreign just like miscalculates, free falls down on top of Eritrea. The two of you kind of like tumble to the ground prone. You didn't really get enough of a start to get much height, so you don't really take any damage. But then the two of you look up to see 4 wardens like staring down at you.
Look, there's you're the better talker. You handle this.
Gentlemen, we have been chasing some suspicious figures who seem to be up to no good. One of them has fallen very, to put it in the most delicate way I can, to his death. We're wondering if you saw any of these suspicious men running through the alleys here.
Give me a persuasion check, if you would.
The one I was chasing was bloody. Like they were cleaning blood off themselves as they ran off.
3 persuasion.
oh,
Good thing we're not falling from 80 feet.
Yes.
I think that I have found a couple suspicious persons. Would you mindly, carefully get to your feet and come with us?
Yes, of course. We don't want to cause any trouble. So we will definitely comply. I will comply. And I kind of like elbow forward. We will comply.
The 4 wardens kind of, the one sergeant, followed by the 3 behind him, weapons at the ready, but more in cautious approach. begin to lead you out of the alleyways and eventually back onto the gondola platform. There's a bit of a kind of a strange kind of activity going on by the time you get back here. You can see a collection of gnomish and dwarven miners all on the platform. You can see that they're like arguing with each other. There's one, you hear one gnome go, "It's mine. I found it. I'm keeping it." Then you hear a dwarf say, "Yeah, but that belongs to me." And they're kind of like going back and forth. Another two wardens that were already here kind of push through the crowds over to the one warden. They exchange a quick back and forth. The four wardens look at the two of you, Ford and Eritrea, and go, and before they leave, the one warden looks at you and goes, "Just be on that gondola and be out of here. We have to deal with something." And you watch as the wardens just kind of leave you behind. Give me a perception check as you watch the wardens gather around something.
9. 8.
Mm-hmm. 7. I have a +6 to perception. Okay, this is my second nat 1 of the night.
Man, too bad we're not having combat right now.
Right?
The one warden that was left behind kind of ushers you onto the gondola, and as you are ushered on the gondola, it's beginning to take you back up towards the upper portion in the direction of the Fateway Bridge. You catch a glimpse of something, but you're not sure what it was. It seems to be in parts in different ore carts that were brought down the ramp from the upper mine area.
I'll take out my rifle and or just pull the scope off of it and just try to get a better look at it.
Okay. Give me perception with advantage this time because you have height and your scope.
That's better. 18.
You see the physical remains of a traumaton in multiple pieces.
Whoa.
Like shattered remains. Like maybe he fell from a very tall vantage point.
We turn the gondola around. How do I here? Eritrea, look at this. I'm trying to figure out how I can get the gondola to go back down.
Sorry, sir. It's one way till we get back to the top.
And Eritrea, look at the down at the pile.
All right.
I hand him the scope, so I've pointed it out to you.
Gee.
So as you look through the scope down below, you could see the wardens surrounding what looks to be a dozen heavy bits of remains of trauma, and they're currently collecting the physical remains of the shattered pieces and parts, kind of placing them carefully into boxes. You also see the arrival of a familiar person that would have been described to you by Karina. That individual that she described as Crimp from the auction house vivisection of the remains of the Shimmerling.
So it's Crimp that we're seeing?
As well as his attendants, the wardens helping kind of keep the crowd back as the physical remains of a trauma are being gathered and collected. And then the gondola moves just enough that you lose sight of the scene.
Stars and stones born.
What the hell happened to trauma?
We have to make sure we find Crimp's shop and try to recover anything of him we can, and maybe get him put back together. But I don't like that they're just all taking his parts away. What information they might get out of him, or what they'll do to him and possibly transform him into.
Remember what Karina said. Crimp pulled out when he arrived at the auction house. He had a miniature that he had expanded into a replica of trauma. I was hit by trauma several times. That's not something I would like to fight again. I don't like the idea of not only a very loose translation of friend being taken away, but also the fact that we may encounter this again in the future. I don't like that at all.
I understand.
We had our differences, but he also saved my life more than once. In the last week, even.
Well, I don't know if he has what you could call a soul. He does have some sort of positive intentions, especially with us.
Perhaps.
We'll have to be careful how we approach this, though.
So you guys continue up the gondola. Karina and Melody, you are on the Airy Spire amongst the different shop opportunities. Where were you heading off to next?
I believe our goal was to go to the airship where they were selling some of those goods that were being used to create the explosive substance.
Okay. With that in mind, you guys now approach the main Airy Spire platform. The location is somewhat familiar to you because it's kind of that area where you had the encounter of being rescued and then recovered with all the other burn and subsequent victims from the Ember Spire disaster. So you're kind of more on the Skyport level at this point, where once again you can see maybe 3 or 4 airships, and there appears to be a airship that is in the process of being unloaded. Its contents being stacked up. It appears to be a kind of on-demand auction. You can see people clustered up in groups. There's a Chandei Quorum advisor, and then a very tall, thin individual kind of, going through the auctioneer process of auctioning off the different crates. There's one particular individual that catches your eye. They are tall, feathered, almost Eric Cochran in design, and they too seem to be very intended on the auction as well. Eric, go ahead and describe yourself as Karina and Melody approach the auction.
Wait, what?
So, Tom is pushing it because Eric Coker are small critters, but he's big for one. But I am Professor Thaddeus Horatio Eliphalet Jalbatros, Professor of Extraplanar Studies and Cross... God, what was it? I had this all pulled up. You threw it at me. Monster! Where are you? Where's my backstory? Yeah. Professor of... I'm in the wrong thing. I am in traumas. I closed the wrong window.
And don't forget to put in your name. The name that's limited in characters.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't know quite how fast we were going to try.
Oh, you know me. I don't waste time.
So, yeah. I'm in here just trying to get my my character pulled up so I can read that off because, I just closed the wrong one. Standard shit for me.
Wait, no. Okay, just a second. Does that mean trauma?
Is
What's
trauma
happening?
Trauma is in pieces.
Yeah. You might be
We've come back from worse.
No, you really haven't.
Well, okay. Well, Eric is going to have 2 characters because trauma's not going.
Yeah. We need to get him reconstructed.
Buy him and install him in the shop. Just just remember that terrible 90s dread where a guy has a random ABC robot, just that he's over in the corner just like
we're just turning Trauma into the butler. Trauma is going to be our alpha. We just need to find a Zordon now, okay?
I don't know what that means.
He just walks around going, ay, 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 ay.
Power Rangers.
Ay, ay, ay,
What is this a reference to?
Power Rangers. It's Power Rangers. But apologies on that. Like I said, I closed the wrong window, so I didn't have my backstory in front of me. But I am now playing Professor Thaddeus Horatio Eliphalet Jalbatros, PhD, D-Lit, Tenured Professor of Extraplanar Studies and Cross-Disciplinary Archaeology at the University of Aronia in the Elysian Realm. Tall was putting it a bit much. He's about 5'8". He's big for an Aarakocra, and the 2 things you would notice about him first are he is absolutely jacked, especially for an albatross. Like it's like I didn't think birds could develop muscles like that. It's like if you shrunk Terry Crews down by like a foot and then put wings on him. The other thing is, everything he's wearing is just impossibly well made. Like, I know I just introduced him as a college professor. I need you to think if you've ever seen or absorbed through, I was supposed to say, any kind of like terrible right-wing movie made by people who have never gone to college. Professor Jalbatross looks like what they think college professors look like. Just absolutely, just everything is tailored, just insanely well made. Drives his bins to work or something.
Very tropey.
Yes, but he's an old money guy. But yeah, I don't think any of you guys would know just from looking at him. He's kind of up there for an Aarakocra. He's in his 40s, which is old by Aarakocra standards. But yeah, that's kind of everything you can see at first glance. But he is, if I didn't say this before, he is a Royal Albatross Aarakocra. So he's just huge, massive,
white
massive
and gray
wingspan.
style feathers and all that fun stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
So Karina and Melody, as you kind of approach the auction, you find yourself next to this interesting Aarakocran. The auctioneer is kind of just going through the motions of selling off crates and lots and, doing the fast bidding. You can see people holding up their hands from time to time, placing their bids. When the professor kind of glances down at the two of you, remind us what he would see. What does Karina look like, and what would Melody look like?
Well, Melody is taller than Professor Jalbatross because she is like 5'10" or 5'11". She's a big satyr. She's got long purple hair, and she's got sort of greenish pink horns and big juicy haunches with purple fur. And she's dressed like a female video game character from the early 2000s, like very cute, sexy armor.
Yeah, very impractical.
Yeah.
The breastplate that's like two just like covers, right?
Yeah,
a little tiny chain between it and a chain on the neck.
It's just always like
which somehow
and you're
still
not
offers
sure
an
why.
armor class of 15. I don't get
Right.
it.
the armored G-string thing where it's just like
Right.
a little
Now you're going deep into Viva La Dirt League.
Mhm.
right.
Karina,
Darwin
what
episode.
form are you in for this encounter, this
I'm
interaction?
currently in the legal ass form,
That's right. The legal
which is to
act.
say, knockoff Orlando Bloom.
That's right.
Looks the same, but the face is just like a little different, to the point.
Just enough to stay out of copyright infringement opportunities.
Exactly.
So big brow, like big furry eyebrows, right?
Yes, of course.
Orlando Bloom, but with giant eyebrows.
Yes.
Professor, as you stand there waiting patiently for the object to be presented, you had heard rumors that your fellow academians within the Ares Spire were trying to procure this item. It is it's called an alchemy vat. It is said to be a magical device that allows you to blend and mix different kind of alchemy substances in an attempt to kind of boost your chances at developing alchemy and potions as well. The two next to you seem to be talking back and forth about the wish to kind of figure out how to get on this ship. With the three of you standing there, what would you guys like to do?
I think I'll make note of Professor Thaddeus's immaculate outfit and be like, "Oh my God, sir, your vest, incredible. Where do you get your tailoring done?"
Excuse me, young.
My
Yes.
name's Melody. Hello.
Please meet your acquaintance, young miss. I actually procured most of my outfit here in Elysium. I don't know that you would be able to find a similar tailor in this realm. I've only been here a month or so. I haven't really had a chance to familiarize myself with the clothiers in this establishment. I'm honestly, I'm a bit out of my depth here, but...
Well, the styles and colors you're wearing are very in. Brown, I think, is in this time of year. I go a little brighter myself, but you look great.
Oh, thank you. He's not here, and obviously, he wouldn't be. But my husband, Giancarlo, loves color, but he doesn't understand. It's a staid look. I mean, we can't all be flamboyant, beautiful, amazing, tall flamingo meritocrats.
Oh.
No.
Oh.
Wait, are we gonna meet him? Can we meet him?
I want to be
I mean, he's stuck in a different realm, so I don't know, maybe late game. Yes, but I figured I'd want to speak to some of the other academics in one of the spires here. I'm having some difficulty. I'm a little bit stuck here in Jrusar. I don't know why I'm burning you young ladies with this information. You don't need to know about my problems.
Not a lady, just an elf. Keep going.
You see him just turn around, just like, oh, I'm so sorry. You'll have to forgive me. I don't want to make too fine for this. Mammals, mammalian species, you all are extremely. I don't know who allowed you to do this. You are terrible at sexual dimorphism. I'm sorry. I cannot. I have a very poor track record. I'm working on it. I am working on things, but I am so sorry.
It's okay.
Not a problem at all, sir. Not a problem. What is your name?
Oh, I'm Professor Thaddeus Horatio Lifelet Jalbatros. Just Professor Professor Jalbatros will be fine. But yes, like I said, I need to try to meet up with some of the other scholars here, see if they have any ideas. I was working on a archaeological site I'd say a few. It's about 3 days flight outside the city. I don't know what that translates to in walking distance, but the planar gate there, to make a long story short, something collapsed. I was able to shepherd my students through, and now it doesn't want to open any of them. So I don't quite know what's going on here. I want to talk to them and see if they've ever encountered anything like this.
You said professor.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you teach?
I teach at the University of Erodia in Elysium.
Can I do a quick history check?
Sure, give me a history check.
I am also a school person, but I did get a natural 2, which means a 7.
Yeah, none of it sounds familiar at all to you.
My boss is actually a student in the House of Loomis. Are you familiar with that academic institution at all?
Can I roll a history or an investigation check?
Oh no, you are very familiar with House Loomis.
Okay.
Many of the academics that you've worked with before have worked with House Loomis. So you've worked with House Treshy as well. There's been a great deal of trade in rare kind of substances and flora and fauna from regions that have been described as Fey-like.
Okay. So I'm just going to turn back to Legolas. It's like, oh, yes, absolutely. I've had some dealings with House Loomis. I don't know that I've dealt with them directly. I'm more of a field professor. I don't. It's a shame. I don't like admitting this. I don't really do much of the research per se. I mainly study my books and I lead expeditions. So anything in the past, if it's not buried in some forlorn, forgotten city, I probably have not seen it myself.
Oh, yeah, I was wondering how you get jacked by carrying books, but I guess that makes sense. And you said that you study archaeology. That's fascinating. That's what my boss also was researching in the context of the Hellcatch Valley.
Really? Did they know anything about that gnomish city I mentioned? Because that planar gate, that should not have done that. I've gone through many, several expeditions a year for the last 7, 8 years. How long have I had tenure? 6 years? Yes, 4 or 5 a year for the last 6 or 7 years. None of them, even when they've exploded, have trapped me in a realm physically. This is yes, I'm quite put out. I'm sorry. You people are young. You don't need to be burdened with an old bird's problems.
No. It sounds like you've had quite the fascinating adventure to get to our, frankly, quite chaotic city. I mean, we would be terrible people to just let you get lost here. It's so easy to find yourself in danger if you don't know what to look for. How about you come with us, and I would like to arrange a meeting with you and my boss later to discuss maybe some of your research.
Oh, absolutely, young miss. I am waiting for them.
I am not a miss. I am a very manly elf. And with that, the invitation is more sent, and I walk away.
Would you please tell him I am so sorry? It is a terrible, terrible habit. I do not do this intentionally. It's just, it's not mixed. Devils can't help it. I'm keen to look for subtle differences in plumage and, well, I mean,
my plumage is very manly. Stop this.
No offense meant, sir. No offense meant, young sir. But yes, there is an item I believe coming up for auction in a little bit that I would like to perhaps place a bid on to sweeten the deal with the scholars and maybe grease a few palms, as they say. I really shouldn't say that. I'm supposed to be a lawful bird myself, but yeah, what witnessed of it here.
It's okay. Nobody is lawful in this city.
You my pendant glow and just like.
Ladies and gentlemen, our final item up for bid. It appears that somebody has procured a alchemy vat. Do I have any takers? Do I have 100 gold? 100 gold. Do I have over there the Arakokan gentleman? Do I have 150? 150. You see a hand go up. 150. 200. 200 gold. 300 gold. 350.
Jeez.
450. Like these hands keep going up throughout the crowd. By the time it gets to 1,000 gold, there's one particular person that catches all three of your eye. He is a tiefling dressed in very kind of over-the-top colors. He's got an entourage of other tiefling with him. As the 1,000 gold offering goes out, once, twice, and then sold, the tiefling just kind of rubs his hands together, says something to the other tiefling who go up to the staging area to collect the alchemy vat, which requires 2 people to carry. It's quite large. They kind of gather around and begin kind of walking towards the gondola that would take them back towards the Lantern Spire.
Oh, well, that's a pity.
Wow, that went for a lot of money. What's so exciting about that vat?
That's honestly beyond my area of study. I just happened to notice it, and it seemed like, well, honestly, I think it was probably something that was, I don't want to say needed, but acquired extra legally from that site. The carvings on it matched what I was seeing. I wanted to present it to the local authorities, but yes, I'm afraid I don't know much of its specific history.
You said that you traveled from about 3 days away. Were you flying over the Hellcatch Valley? Do you know?
Would I know that?
Yeah, it would have taken you via the Hellcatch.
Yes, I flew over there for a moment. Was there something of interest there to you? To be perfectly frank about it, My clade can stay in the air for long periods. I honestly was not paying much attention to the ground. Just places, clearings where I might be able to catch a few hours.
Mm-hmm.
I did not notice much from the air. Just tried to get here, see if I could enlist the help of some other academics.
Yeah, we've just heard about a lot of traffic coming out of the Hellcatch, so I was curious if that's where you had come from as well.
No, I'm afraid not. A bit further east.
Do we see from where we are, sort of, are people dispersing, and would it be easy to walk onto the ship, or does it seem like the ship is just kind of sealed up at this point?
It looks wide open. People are collecting what they purchased. Money's being exchanged with the auctioneer. There's not really much of a guard. There's one very bored warden just standing alongside the Chandei Quorum advocate that's selling off everything. And then there's the gangway that kind of leads up to the airship and then on to the main deck of the airship. No one's really paying attention, as far as you can tell.
We just wander on up?
It sounds like our kind of plan.
Professor, maybe there are a couple of academics on board. Would you like to join?
Oh, absolutely. I have not actually seen. I mean, it's been. Have you taken any of the planar gates? I might not have come in at an opportune time. I'm used to seeing them in their full academic dress. I don't quite know that I would recognize them on a public transport. If there were any you could point out, that would be ideal. That sounds.
It's like
I'm so fucking loving this.
It's punching so high above Melody's weight that like Melody with her intelligence of 8 is just like, this all sounds really cool.
She's even getting that donut glaze eye, that. Are you guys heading up onto the ship at this point?
I think so, yeah. To see if we can just amble up.
Yeah, I mean, you start walking up the gangway. As you get up there, you can see what looks to be maybe crew members of the ship, just kind of going about their business of doing some repair. It appears the main deck of the ship is empty. The two holds are wide open. The kind of catchment nets to haul up the gear have all kind of been bundled up. The brimstone engines are very silently humming, kind of just enough to keep the airship aloft on its stanchion. The three of you give me perception checks as you kind of glance.
Oh, this is going to be terrible. Perception is -1.
What's concerning is I think that Kurt and Ryan are actually our high wisdom characters.
Yeah.
That is an 8.
Okay.
19.
19?
I got a 4.
4. So while Melody and Professor Thaddeus are kind of looking around, Karina, you notice a familiar silhouette of a person. They've got their back to you. They look to be feminine in their overall silhouette. They seem to be talking to one of the crew member. Coins are exchanged. The slight feminine hand hands coins over to the sailor. She immediately then goes down into the interior hold of the ship.
I try to. Okay. Actually, I'm gonna try to kind of follow this figure a little bit.
Okay. You quickly kind of. Are you going to be stealthy about it, or just kind of casually do it, or what are your thoughts?
Honestly, I have an invisibility spell. I would like to use that without standing out by randomly disappearing.
Yeah, so give me a stealth check as you kind of use the cover of the few things that are on the deck of the ship. Using that as cover, you'll then go into invisibility so you can pursue the hatch.
Oof, it's a 4, but I have inspiration. Maybe I can use my inspiration. Okay, that's a +5. So that's a 9.
9. Just as you're about to do the spell, you feel a very kind of rough hand on your shoulder, like grab you by the shoulder, spin you around as this very large orcish figure, kind of wearing like a tilted captain's hat, like a vest and some short breech pants and like some tall leathers. All right, who's letting randos onto my ship? Sailors kind of stop what they're doing. They look over.
Me?
Yeah, you're a rando. You don't belong on my ship.
Well, that's rude.
Well, it's not if you're sneaking onto my ship looking to steal my stuff.
I'm cool. You can let me.
Give me a persuasion check as you start to stammer and stutter.
This has been. I get it well, but I okay. Wait. Traits.
Wait.
So this is all going on below decks, right?
No, this is going on about 30 feet to your right on the main deck.
Yeah, no, it's just a 12.
Okay. You watch as this huge orc kind of picks her up by the scruff of her, of his clothing, and he takes the elf, and like the orc comes to stand in between Thaddeus and Melody. Does this belong to you?
I would never deign to own a person, sir. What type of
All right,
degenerate savage do you take me for?
all of you, off my boat. I don't know who you are.
I promise we're on the list. We're cool.
No,
We're cool.
you guys get kind of like hustled and escorted off to the gangway.
Sir, if this is a matter of payment, I do apologize. I had thought that we had procured our passage. I am so sorry. I would never.
Don't be
think-
sorry somewhere else. Get off my boat. You guys
Wow.
kind of get hustled down the gangway back into the busy platform of the Airy Spire.
I love the idea of
let's-
Arena like being carried away, just yelling, "We're cool!"
Well,
In
that
all
was-
her life, that's the first time she did not get into a club. This is hard.
Well, that was rather uncouth.
As the three of you mill about the stanchion area of the Airy Spire,
So
and
was the person I thought I recognized, though, was it Regina?
kind of had that same look from when you saw her transform from one figure to another back in the temple chamber of House Loomis.
Okay, I think I have to pursue this thing. So I am gonna look for a bush where I can transform.
I mean, now that you're back on the platform, it's easy. You kind of duck into some cargo crate containers that are there,
Okay.
big wooden boxes. What are you changing into?
An Aarakocra. And I put invisibility on me, and I'm just gonna fly behind the ship.
Are you letting
What kind of
Melody or
Aarakocra?
Thaddeus know?
I let Melody know. I say, to Thaddeus and Melody, oh, I'm so sorry. I need to go pick up some dry cleaning for my boss. But it was a pleasure to meet you too. And then I kind of whispered to Melody, I think Regina was on this. I'm going to follow them.
Ooh, okay. Be careful.
Thumbs
Yeah.
thumbs up.
Invisibly, she goes, thumbs up.
I hear her quietly whisper.
Yeah. You feel the draft of her wings as you fly up and over the gangway, and now you're kind of looking at the edge of the airship. You can see that the orc captain is kind of hustling the sailors to get to work. No sense of seeing Regina anywhere, but you could see the hold is still open, which would gain you access if you were to get to it. Give me a stealth check with advantage because you are invisible.
So wait, so is it like a ship, or like is it a sky ship, or is it?
It's a sky ship.
I think if it seems like they're going all to fly somewhere, I'd rather follow them from the outside.
They don't look quite ready to set off. You get the feeling that they're kind of doing repairs and preparation. It doesn't look like they're ready to set today. And usually the skyships are only free to leave at either dusk or dawn.
Oh, okay. So I will invisibly transform I was hoping there would be a bigger reveal for her, but Bimbo Baggins. Only on account of her being small, so...
I think Bimbo Baggins would be good.
Yes, yeah.
Cover our tracks.
Bimbo Baggin will be... Yeah, because she's smaller, so probably would be easier than like a creature with wings. And yeah, I'm gonna try to stealth in.
Okay, give me stealth with advantage since you are invisible.
Wow, I keep getting 2s today. This is ridiculous. This is like the 4th time today.
You and me both.
Oof. Okay, 14.
14. As you get to the edge, you kind of softly go down the steps that lead into the cargo hold. Once in there, you can see that the cargo hold, for the most part, is empty. There's a lot of residual staining and scuffs and marks. It looks like the cargo hold's been used pretty extensively. There's a couple piles of broken crates and debris piles left over from when they emptied out the hold that you can kind of hunker down behind in your invisible state. And there you see Regina in her female form. The more traditional female form that's been described to you, as well as when you've been pursuing her as well. Short black hair, kind of a pale face with a freckled complexion. She's got 2 scimitars at her waist. She's got a long sword on her back. You see a brace of pistols kind of strewn across her chest. She seems to be talking to a strange looking goblin individual. He's cloistered in leathers. His hands are kind of rubbing together like he's nervous, and you can overhear them speaking in a kind of he's kind of using a rough common. She sounds very frustrated, and you could hear her begin to speak. Listen, you little fucker. I've paid you a lot of money to complete this plan. Now, while the Ember Spire was an accident, I think we need to take advantage of it. Don't you? Well, yeah, I mean, if I pulled that off, you would be giving me a lot more money. But yeah, you're right. Okay, so is the plan still that we're going after the main core spire, the Chandei Quorum, then? Yes, you daft bugger. Listen, I've already paid Tarvish Soot to take possession of both the vat and the liquid powder. You can find him over in the Ember Spire in the warehouse district. Here, take this. She hands him a folded up piece of paper. Collect the supplies, make the enhancements per the recipe on that paper, and then do the other half of the job. You understand? We're running out of time, and I want to get this fire lit. Yes, of course. Listen, I've run into a bit of a problem, though. What problem have you run into? Well, the Ivory Syndicate wants more money. I'm using their people to get all this done. Like you said, we're going to make it look like no one's really involved, and it's taken up a lot of money and a lot of time for me to do this. She stands there, stroking at her chin. Fine, here. She seems to hand him a sizable chunk of coin in a bag. This will do, mistress, this will do. Well, I'll get it done. He starts walking away. Regina watches him walk away and then goes, just a minute. Stand still. Regina kind of walks. I think there's someone else here. I can hear them breathing. You watch as she pulls 2 pistols from her brace. And you watch as the goblin pulls out a thin rapier, looking around with a dagger in his other hand. And they're both looking in separate directions. You watch as Regina her entire form ripples. Her changeling form appears briefly and then changes into like a male form of like a ranger type. And her voice changes. Grim, you leave first. If anyone tries to move or do anything, I'll take care of them. The goblin turns, well, how are you gonna? And then you watch as the ranger goes invisible.
Oh, fuck me. Okay. Well,
I have got to clip that. I want to use that as a reel. That's gonna be awesome. How do you know when you're building good tension? When one of your players goes, "Oh well, fuck me."
Well, I'd rather not actually. I have 2 stealth stones. I don't know what they do. What do stealth stones do again?
Do they like make a noise somewhere else?
Correct.
And as part of my actor feat, I can also imitate the voices of mimicry. Mimic any sounds of other creatures, including speech. A creature that hears the mimicry must succeed a wisdom of 8 plus 6.
Okay.
So 14. So I'm gonna use my stealth stone to the other direction, and I'm gonna use the voice of the orc that threw me out earlier.
Okay.
To say, "Oh shit!" Like as if he just like stubbed his toe someplace close, but in a way that would hopefully allow me to get out.
Yeah.
I also have an insight stone, so I'm gonna throw that into this as well, because I've died already last time, and I don't want to do that again.
With that, you kind of quickly you check the stealth stone, which as soon as it hits the ground, it makes its own unique noise, mimicking the illusionary effect of footfalls. As it does, you ventriloquist your performance, and there's a sudden blast, like a gun going off, as Regina's form reappears, shooting in the direction of the stone, creating a bit of a loud noise, and then maybe like she was startled or something, creating just enough of a diversion that you quickly like run up the cargo hold stairs. You're back up on the main deck, and you watch as all the sailors go rushing past you, like you're moving, trying to avoid them as they rush past you. The captain kind of rushing with them. What's going on down there? Who's firing on my ship? And the commotion is definitely going off, giving you enough time to make it over to the gangway, back down the gangway until you're kind of like amongst Thaddeus and Melody, who are just kind of making small talk about your sudden disappearance.
Am I still invisible?
Technically, you're still invisible, yeah.
Uh,
Lesser invisibility, so it lasts up to an hour, as long as you don't attack or harm anybody or cast a spell, like a very specific spell. You just used objects as diversions.
Okay, well, I took a whole spell slot for it, so I might as well get the most out of it. So I'm just gonna go around spying on people for the next hour. Just gonna be a creep.
Born in Eritrea. No sign of the others. You're currently on the mid-fated gate, the fated bridge walk gondola platform.
Are we on the right spire that are HQ?
You're on the core spire.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Well, but there's a bridge to where our HQ is, though.
Correct.
We don't have to take another gondola. We can go to a
Correct.
bridge.
You could cross the Fate Walk Bridge and be over on the lower sections of the Lantern Spire.
We do. Foreign and I know the name of the shop yet, the Prancing Centaur. Were we part of that? We
were coming up with that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I feel as we should maybe try to gather back at Centaur. see if our friends can assist us in any way with getting
They're
some
not gonna,
pieces of.
they're not going to be happy.
No, I think they'll be quite devastated.
God, I need another drink.
You want to head to?
I don't even say. I just start walking towards the. I gotta find the name of the place. The bar that I got shit faced in front of the Goliath and pissed him off again.
Oh, that's right, because you guys are on the.
So I mean, I'm walking back towards our HQ because the bar was that tavern was near.
Yeah, it's
the
right
headquarters.
in that direction.
Yeah.
What is the name of that place?
The Weary Way Tavern.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Two of you head over to the Weary Way Tavern. Quite a crowd has gathered on the market area, the Faded Bridge. This is middle of the day now, where a lot of the activity takes place. The tavern doors are open. The crowd is spilling out into the streets, as well as gathered up in quite a bit of density within the tavern as well. You can see the who was your bartender?
Oh, he was another Goliath.
Oh yeah. Okay, there he is.
Not the one from the Stargazer. but
Something
the other
like
Goliath.
Stone Jar, Strong Jar, something.
Yes, he's related to Strongjaw.
Was it Brookham?
Yeah, it was Brookham, which is
Strong
his way of saying Brookham, so he's known as Brookham Strongjaw. He kind of sees the two of you come into his tavern. Hey, you two. I'm busy. No trouble. You understand?
Yes, of course.
All right.
Just
give me
looking to loosen up a little bit.
Just give me a goddamn drink.
We will have. What would you like, Warren? I'll take care of the ordering.
Whatever we had last time, that stuff did the trick, and do it fast.
Sir, Mr.
Yes.
Brookham, we would like. I'll have an ale. He'll have the concoction he drank last time.
Oh no. Let's keep him on a sippy cup today. Let's have some just good old fashioned whiskey. You'll like it. It'll take the edge off, and it won't force me to have to throw you out again and off the edge of the spire.
Warren, even though I know you want that concoction, I believe we should just comply with this for now. A whiskey will ease your.
Sets the bottle on the table, sets the tankard alongside Eritrea, and kind of
I just
goes
take the whiskey bottle. Like I don't wait for the cup. I just take the bottle and start nursing the bottle. It's happening again. Trail.
What's happening
Happening
again?
The shimmering now trauma as annoying as he was.
Are you feeling that trouble is following you?
I don't know.
Or are you
feeling that
creating
trouble is following me?
Or do you believe you're creating it yourself? Or is this some other force working against you?
Look, every direction I turn, everything I try to do blows up catastrophically, like the side of the spire. We get nowhere. We get nothing.
We're down right now.
The one you chased down, did you get anything off of him? I failed at every damn turn trying to track mine.
I found that, the gentleman I was chasing had a tattoo of the Ivory Syndicate, it seemed. We have some information. I'm most concerned right now with what they could possibly be doing with Trauma's remains.
Right. But how? Well, we know Crimp, they've said Crimp works with the Ivory Syndicate, but If I recall, they said he works with them, not for them. Corinna's not going to like this.
No.
He saved her life. She's not going to like this at all.
No. And I don't think Melody will be particularly pleased either. I'm actually a little worried about how dramatic she's going to be about it, frankly.
You know, I almost killed Melody's sister. Corinna followed me down to the bottom of the core spire. She was killed down there herself as well. Are you sure you want to be sitting near me? Are you sure you want to be following me around? At this point, it seems like you may be the next target.
I appreciate your concern and your care, but I find your company to be interesting and pleasing, and I believe you have good morals that we need to try to change and bring some good into.
Well, every time I try to do something good, it
literally did that a couple days ago.
yeah,
But
I know.
I believe you just need a little guidance and to trust me, to trust Melody, to trust Karina.
You shouldn't.
I feel like there's a disembodied voice in my head.
Yeah.
There's a crow that just perched on your shoulder.
Don't touch her! Don't touch her!
No, no. The weirdest call I've ever heard. Sound like that crow is saying no.
So, Foreign, are you just throwing up your hands and quitting then?
I'm not quitting. I'm just trying not to get you killed at this point. And perhaps the best way I can do that is drinking myself asleep.
As long as you don't make a hassle.
I don't like that bartender.
I know you. There's a lot of people you don't like, though. It doesn't mean you need to do something about it.
Look, the man's threatened me twice now. The first time I came in here just for a drink, he didn't like how I asked him for a drink. This time he comes in saying the same thing. I really don't. Does he have something against me? Does he have something against my kind?
Have you ever worked in a tavern? Any sort of, business where you're interacting with people on a regular basis?
I have
It's quite
perused.
stressful.
I have perused many a tavern in my time. I've
As a
found,
patron.
I've found the taverns around this area tend to be rather exclusive in their judge of characters. And I don't tend to like the way they look at me when I come in. All suspicious like I'm going to start some trouble or something.
Well, you have admittedly noted that trouble does seem to surround you.
Not when I'm drunk and passed out.
I want you to take care of yourself. And I know this is what you need to do to vent and let off stress.
Thank you for catching up earlier today. My head's not right, and it's not going to get right, and thank you anyway. I chugged the rest of the bottle. I've been drinking,
No.
but now it's like I appreciate what you're doing, and now I'm just gonna get tossed.
So, Karina, while you're out and about using up your invisibility,
And actually,
give-
could I? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. I realized I should probably tell Melody about what happened so they'd get away before Regina starts combing.
that's fair. That's fair.
So I'm just making sure I tell Melody and also mention about the fire situation. There might be a meeting there later. Basically, just like the conversation and what we should be looking out for.
Okay, but wait, where are you going? Where are you going?
I am the wind. And with that, I go on creeping.
So, Karina, for the next 45 minutes, give me investigation as you kind of creep through the Airy Spire platform to see what you can learn with the last little bit of your invisibility still up.
This has been... Oh, no, okay, it's not too bad. It's 12, but can I use my insight stone to kind of give me maybe an indication of what I should be looking for while I'm invisible?
Yeah, you get the feeling that as you consume the insight stone, you're detecting some thoughts near you. You actually stumble upon the gathered tiefling that had procured the alchemy vat, and they're boxing it up in a crate. They're on the other side of the platform, and there's a very strange looking, more of an air skiff than an airship. It's very like gaudy in color. The decorations are over the top. It's on the side of the skiff. It's called the Bloodworm on the side of it. You could see other tiefling, blue and green, and other coloration tiefling on the ship. And the tiefling that had procured the vat is currently explaining or giving orders to the other tieflings. And you hear them refer to him as Jarvis Soot. And Soot kind of looks at them. Now, look, it took us a long time to find this, and we need to get it back to Bassaris as quickly as possible. Do not tally. Get it on the ship. You know where to take it in Bassaris. Get it there and get that Saka working on it and get back to work on it. We need to get the supplies back up and running again. Do you understand me? All the other tiefling kind of like, oh yeah, so we got it. Don't worry. We'll get it taken care of. You watch as they pick up the crate, and the 4 tiefling carry it up the small rampway onto the air skiff. And you watch as the air skiff just kind of begins to leave the gantry. You watch as Jarvis Suit just kind of stands there and looks around. His ears twitch like he hears something. And his hand goes right in front of your face, but doesn't. Then he shrugs his shoulders and walks off into the crowd. So while Karina's off doing that, what's Melody and Thaddeus doing before she gets back?
Well, Melody has to race back to the house at extreme speed to put up a prancing centaur sign so that the movers know where to deliver all our stuff.
Dr. Jalbatros I keep saying Dr. Professor Jalbatros, rather, he'd be remiss if he didn't offer you a lift. Just like, I could fly you there. Really?
Oh my God.
Can you really? Oh, that would be fabulous.
So, this is the advantage of being an absolutely jacked bird.
Give me an athletics check, if you would, Professor.
All right. This is going to be the fun thing, because for the first character I've ever made where my athletics and acrobatics are basically the same, and they're, again, decent bonuses, but they're not amazing. That's a 17. I missed my...
Okay.
17.
To save time and to get back there, Melody's a bit frantic. Melody holds on to the sign. You kind of hold on to her, and you just kind of step off the edge of the Airy Spire platform, and you use your wings to kind of glide you down to the gondola level, which saves a good chunk of time. The two of you get on the gondola and then make your way over to the Fate Walk Bridge, and you're back on the lower level of the Lantern Spire, and the two of you are back at the Prancing Centaur. Melody, you kind of climb up on Professor's shoulders, and he's helping you kind of like connect the sign, and you see a familiar bullywug come out of the store next to yours. Right, see, you finally named your shop. Well done.
Thank you. We're about to get some product in today as well.
This is quite a handsome fellow you have with you. What is your name?
Professor's just kind of struggling a little bit because, I have a full satyr on my shoulder. I'm sorry, sir. I'm a little bit indisposed at the moment. Forgive me. I always do assume these things. Would you mind, Turb, if I asked after you in a moment what our young friend here has done?
Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to just.
Oh no! It's not. I don't mean anything by no hassle at all. It's just I tend to forget how solidly built mammalian creatures.
Just give me a minute, Professor. I just have to straighten the sign. I don't think the angle's quite right.
I agree, Dude Hall. It's just again, I'm used to creatures your height weighing 75 pounds maybe. Hollow bones.
Well, I mean, she did state very specifically that she had juicy haunches.
Yeah,
so.
she's a densely built girl. She's muscly.
I mean, this is all bird jokes because
yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's all right.
All right, I'll clop down.
She
I knew I should have done
down.
my day today.
Well, so you've named your shop the Prancing Centaur. Fascinating. What are you going to sell?
We're expecting to sell a number of luxury goods, some perfume, some nice cloths, some fabrics. I think it'll be really nice for the neighborhood. You should stop by.
Very nice. Well, if you don't mind, I've got a crate of ceramics I can bring over to you that you can offer up for sale as well.
Certainly. At what price can we buy them from you?
Oh, no, it's quite all right. Sell and we'll count it towards your the remaining payments are required on the building.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. Of course.
Of course. You watch as Grung ushers a couple of the helpers over with the crate. They set it down on the inside. No sign of the others at this point. No sign of Foreign or Trauma or Eritrea. Just you and the professor kind of mucking about the front of the shop, getting the sign ready, and kind of doing. Do you want to take Thaddeus on a tour?
Sure, I can show Thaddeus around. I think Melody is very excited about her rehab project, so I can talk his ear off about that. I'll tell him about the goods we got coming in and be like, oh, maybe you could take a look at them. It seems like you've done a lot of traveling. We just don't know that much, but it seems like some of them are really pretty.
Oh, absolutely. I always love poking my beak in new and interesting shops.
So the two of you are kind of meandering and taking in the Prancing Centaur, which officially has its name and its sign up. Karina, you are about to lose your invisibility. What form do you take, and what are you doing next?
I think I'm gonna go Sauron and just kind of go back to the Prancing Centaur.
Okay. Kind of find your way back to the gondolas. They take you back down into the Fate Walk Bridge area between the Lantern Spire and the Core Spire. Foreign and Eritrea, what are the two of you doing? Foreign, give me a Constitution save, if you would, please. At disadvantage, because you were being specific about heavy drinking.
Oh, yeah. That's a... Hang on, let me see what modifier is. It's less than 10, I'll tell you that. That's 7. Wow, my modifier is a plus.
Eritrea, you are now in charge of Frat Boy Drunk Foreign.
Hello, sir.
Ryan, I think I might have accidentally triggered Ryan.
I did go to a big state school, so yes.
Now, I need another drink. Where's another drink? I can still see things.
Fine. I kind of wave over Brookham. Brookham to waters.
You notice, like,
what is? Oh yeah, I got you. He goes over, grabs a bucket, and douses a bucket of water on the corn.
Oh
no!
Well, guess we won't get any.
Warren is like hiving into him now. Like, drunkenly, awkwardly, but he's just like you see the big breath and the water's running off him, and he like looks up and just darts out of his chair to try and tackle the Goliath.
Yeah,
I try to grab him before. I want to try to grab him before he gets.
So it's a 3-way grapple. Foreign acrobatics or athletics, air trio acrobatics or athletics. Needless to say, Broken Strongjaw is going to use athletics.
19.
Oh, for a cleric.
10.
Oh man.
Strongjaw or Broken grabs Foreign first by the scruff and holds him up like a foot off the ground. At the same time that you try to grab Foreign to prevent him from diving into Broken then grabs you by the scruff, and he's now like as he's holding the two of you up, his biceps just go swole, like his arms are huge, and he kind of carries the two of you to the door and tosses you both out. That's force, and slams the door shut.
Well,
like. So you,
I rolled a 25.
Come on.
Part of being a Fey wanderer, like every once in a while you'll see Fey like wispy things come around me, and right now it's just butterflies circling my head. Like little, like you just see them like pop in and pop out, and they're circling around my head.
It's Looney Tunes.
I'm gonna kill that man. Not today.
What we're gonna do today is get you back and get some rest. Send to the centaur.
By the way, it's like 4 p.m., right?
Yeah, it's like the middle of the afternoon. It's like 3 o'clock at this point. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you need to. Maybe you need to get you a little shut eye. Take a little nap.
As Eritrea and Foreign head back to the Prancing Centaur, Karina heading back as well. It's about 4 o'clock when everyone arrives to the sound of melody and an unfamiliar person, familiar to Karina, but unfamiliar to Eritrea and Foreign, up on the 3rd floor veranda. Kind of laughing, having drinks, and it sounds like Melody is getting this unfamiliar person kind of made aware of the shop and the activities that have been going on. You can hear them talking to each other up on the 3rd floor. Karina's the first one to arrive up on the 3rd floor, and then eventually a very kind of hungover, drunk Foreign with Eritrea as the 5 of you are gathered on the veranda watching the busy Faded Bridge walkway kind of pass underneath you.
I'm staring at the giant bird man, and I'm staring at Karina, like looking back and forth at him. What?
Yeah, Karina, are you still there, Cochrane, or did you?
Oh, I think.
No, she was Sour
my
Ron.
last.
That's right. You're Sour Ron. That's right.
Yeah,
Sour.
so I clearly introduced myself to Professor Jalbatros.
Hello. What? I can't. I made some earlier mistakes that I'm loath to repeat. Could I please get your name and whatever pronouns you use, please? Again, I'm trying to be a supportive learning professional, and I do not understand. I'm trying to be better. I'm set in my ways, but I'm trying to be better. This really pains me to say. This pains me, Eric, to say this.
My name is Sour Ron, and I go by he, him, your majesty.
Oh,
and I use the royal we when I speak.
Yeah.
When we speak.
Eritrea.
Well, I'm afraid I don't recognize your particular monarchy, but noted. Have to check with the Ombuds office when I get back. See what the situation for that is.
Eritrea, am I seeing a giant? Did that ugly bird?
You could have been friends this time.
Why is it big and tall?
Eritrea, Foreign. This is Professor Jalbatros, our new friend.
Did I hear
Invite
Florin
him
call me
over
ugly?
shopping.
Florin, as someone that is worried about how other people judge them when they walk into taverns, you should be much more open-minded with what you're seeing now.
So,
My
No,
fellow
I
winged friend,
remember
it's a
the ugly
pleasure.
little bird with no feathers that flew around. Am I seeing? Am I that drunk?
No, you are not. There is a Birdman who is in front of us.
I assume you guys are both taller than me, because again, I'm only like 5'8".
Yeah. I'm like
Okay, so, but did I hear Florin call me ugly?
I said that ugly bird.
Yeah, I know,
You
but
were
that's
ugly,
I have no
but-
context for that. I'm the only bird in
That's
here.
fair. That's fair.
Could be another bird.
Technically, you're not a bird. You're an Aarakocran.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like I assume that he's just being racist against me.
Knowing drunk Forn, it could be true. Yeah.
So, but again, did I hear that?
Oh, I mean, I said it out loud. I'm
Okay.
drunk, so.
So, Professor Jelmatraz just kind of like, oh, if you would excuse me for just a moment, Miss Melody, just kind of slowly gets up, just young man, you appear to be like just I can't loom, so I'm coming up to you like your fucking
can't loom.
your throat, but just young man, you appear to be quite heavily intoxicated. I understand you are loath to you're want to do things at this point in your life, but insulting another man's appearance unprompted is a great way to start an altercation. And he just a gentleman does not throw the first punch, but I will finish if you do. If you would like to take this outside, sir.
Oh, Sour Ron just gets in between them. He's just very drunk. We apologize.
Foreign, this is Professor Thaddeus, our new, very wonderful friend.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did not realize this was one of your associates.
You're carrying on and carrying on. Trauma's dead.
What? What do you mean he's dead?
I don't know what happened. We were chasing folks. We went different directions. Trauma's dead.
Yes, I can
You
corroborate.
let him die?
What happened? You guys were with him. What happened? How did he die? He's a giant metal robot.
I don't know. If I knew, I don't know. All I know is there was Trauma's parts in mine carts.
So
with a
when
bunch
you
of
die,
gnomes and
Trauma
dwarves
carries
fighting
your
over it.
body up the stairs, and when he dies, you what? Get drunk and get into fights?
Where's
Let's go get his parts. What are you
Where's
talking
his
about?
body?
All right,
We couldn't get the body
let me be
back.
the voice of reason here. We were all split up.
You think we're being unreasonable?
Just I'm trying to
Get him,
explain
Melody,
this.
get him.
Trio! I can't believe you would say that to me right now. When Trauma's dead.
Where
I kind of lean to forward and go, I told you she'd be dramatic.
Jesus?
Hey, I don't think that helps.
Okay, this is
I don't think that
outside.
helps.
This is outside the letter of the text, but can I kind of go up to him and do lay on hands to remove some portion of his drunkenness?
I mean, prestidigitation actually gets rid of all drunkenness.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't see that. I do actually have prestidigitation.
Yeah, you just kind of you put your hands on his shoulder.
Oh no, I don't. I apologize. I have
Okay.
thaumaturgy.
So yeah, if you heal, if you do a quick any kind of healing, or any kind of restoration, it would immediately sober him up.
Okay. So I'm gonna lay on hands for like let's say 5 HP. Just
Okay.
I needed it anyway.
Young man, why don't you come over to this table and have a nice bit of have a nice drink of water.
Damn it! I'm not drunk again. I don't like thinking these things.
Thorn,
You
where
don't
is
understand. I
Trauma?
don't like thinking. Every once in a while, there's these voices that talk to me in my head, and they talk to me like they know who I am. and I
Lord,
really
we don't
like
have
it.
time for the voices
is
right
not-
now.
No, I know.
Trauma.
But that's why I'm Trauma. That the person you described, Corinna, the person you described showed up. We got caught by the guards. They dragged me and Eritrea away. They shuffled us onto a gondola, and then they turned around and went after some commotion. As we were going away, I got my scope out, and I went back and looked, and I swear it was Trauma's. Trauma was in pieces. I don't know what happened to him. He was in pieces, and he was coming out of the mine.
And Trauma still took me. We need to go back there.
I got shuffled onto the gondola, but the fella you described that showed up with the copy of Traumaton, he was there.
He could have helped him. He could have saved him.
I think he was trying to take it, what remained of it. And I think we need to go to him to try to get some sort of peace.
We have to find him. We have to find him. We need to get whatever is left of Trauma when we can fix him. He's a robot. It should be easier than fixing a human.
I agree with you.
While you guys are talking about this, I just want to point out, like, Professor Jrusar is like, again, I know all of you are taller than me, but just my beak is just kind of slowly inching in kind of between you guys. Just like, I don't mean to interrupt, but would one of you mind terribly filling me in? What is a trauma? Not that kind, the one you're talking about. I'm aware of what physical injury is. I do not need it demonstrated.
It's a very large, tall robot with a dent on his head that likes to hit things.
Are you familiar with the Warforged?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
He's gotten us out of many nasty situations, and now he seems to have gotten himself into the nastiest possible situation.
That doesn't sound... Well, I'm happy to offer you what assistance I can. I don't know what you could possibly need with an academic, and he just kind of looks down at his relic, or just like, and Paladin. But I'll do what I can to assist you. Surely.
Well, the guy Trauma and I spoke to earlier, and I kind of minor illusion the guy that did work on Trauma recognized. Sorry, what was the name of the
Crimp?
Crimp. Recognized Crimp. We might be able to. He might be able to drop a dime about where he is. But if this is true, we should act fast.
That certainly looks like quite the rude customer. I don't want to cast aspersions, but yes, I will absolutely. He seems. I'm not going to lie, I'm a bit impressed by the muscles. I'm a little jealous.
Yes, we're all impressed by the muscles. Let's go.
Hang on. I called you a bird, didn't I?
You did, yes.
I do apologize. That
I understand. You were in your cups. I wanted
Not
to make
enough.
sure. So I'm a university professor. You are hardly the first drunk young man I have had come into my presence.
I'm not as young as you think I am, but thank you.
No, it's. I assure you, sir. It's fine. It's fine. All of you are but students to me. It's.
Right. Well, so they called that place the Oil Pot. Is that where we're going?
I don't know if it's a good idea for all of us to go.
I mean, we don't all have to go in, but we probably should all go.
Yeah, but we should have a plan. I guess Trauma trusted him, so it stands to reason that we should trust him as well.
I mean, I can't do any talking. I'm not going to be any help with that. So.
Is there
we should just go.
Was our shipment supposed to come today?
No, it's in the next couple of days.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should start at the oil place.
You guys are gonna go look for Faber at the oil pot?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before his shop closes for the day.
I think regardless if his shop closes at the day.
gather up,
it's regardless of whether it's
taking the gondola up to the upper section of the Lantern Spire, and you end up in the kind of nice part of the Lantern Spire district, where the Dawnfather Temple is. Sorry, you're over in the Lucent Spire. My bad. Being over in the Lucent Spire, there's the Diamond Horizon bathhouse right there. The Golden Veil, and then Fabian's Silver Thread or Silver Time. And then, squished in between some of the other structures, you see the familiar oil can hanging from above the oil pot. The doors are open. You can hear heavy machinery being worked on. You can hear a hammer and a forge-like kind of vibe as all of you cross through the threshold of the doorway and into the interior of the oil pot. And there's Faber working diligently, sweating. Looks like he's been at it all day. A large set of metal arms with augments attached to them. And you can see that these things would only fit a Traumaton. Their sheer size, and looks very much like the design that Trauma had spoken about previously from time to time. Faber looks up from his work and goes, "Oh, whew, sorry. I tried to get this done. I've got a client coming back either today or tomorrow, I think, to collect his augments. Sorry." He wipes his hands off with an oily rag and picks up his jacket and puts it on. And is there something I can do for the five of you?
Sir,
Crim-
have any of you met this gentleman?
Sir,
Yes.
we need to find Crimp. He took our friend.
He looks around, sees the five of you with intense looks on your faces, and he goes over to his door. He shuts the double doors and kind of locks them and comes back in. Now, what would five fine-looking individuals like you want to do with Crimp?
You know our friend, Traumaton.
Oh, the big metal boxy fellow with the dent in his head. Yes, this order is for him.
He was incapacitated, and in that state, we believe, was taken by Crimp. Or his parts were. We need
He
to...
was more than incapacitated. He was
Incapacitated!
Karina's clearly in denial.
And, yes, no, we need to we need to find him.
Well, my understanding is he keeps a laboratory in the Ember Spire. Where it is exactly, I'm not entirely sure. The only people that I think would know exactly where he's at would be the Ivory Syndicate, maybe members of the different houses that use his services. He's a bit of an enigma, not really sure where he permanently resides. He's kind of all over the place.
I tried to describe anything from the machinery or the people I saw when he was processing the Shimmerling to see if that gives him an indication of any location.
Oh, fascinating. Was that the ruckus that happened up on the top of the spire?
at the auction. Yes.
Great
Yes,
ruckus.
I
Great
was
ruckus.
spying from the window, and I saw, and I describe the different.
That's a very interesting trick. There are no windows at the auction house. That's fine. I don't
Well,
care how you got the information.
There's a roof with a hole in it now.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
I mean, you're aware who he is, right?
We are aware he is bad news, but we owe our friend and we love our friend and we don't want him to be taken like this. So if you could help us, we would appreciate it.
I don't want to be the bearer of horrible news, so I'll just come out and say it. Crimp is called in as a bit of a mortician. He comes in, He examines the remains of individuals that he's called to examine, and then those remains are hauled off to his laboratory. What he does there with them, I'm completely not sure. There are some that believe him to be a master artificer and augmenter of organics and metals and tinkerer. While he works with many different interested parties, whoever can pay him the most amount of money, he's very dangerous. He may not be very appreciative of me sharing this information, even though it's not much, and he may not be very appreciative of people snooping about and looking for him. If you're prepared to take on that risk, I can at least point you in the direction of the Ivory Syndicate, and you can do your best there.
Hey, after he says this, I think Professor Jawatros just kind of wants to look at his paladin's amulet just to see if anything's going on, like if Ribnus makes it glow or something. Because
not necessarily. Yeah, it's doesn't really react.
We are not looking for more trouble than we can handle, but we will not stop until we find him.
I understand. Losing a friend can be difficult. There is a fellow, a bit of a smuggler. He works with most of the houses, but he is often quite good at smuggling things for the Ivory Syndicate. If you're looking for an introduction and you want to get into the house and to get to the right people that can answer these questions about Crimp's location, that may be your best option. He goes by the name of Javin Soot, a tiefling fellow. Can't miss him. Red-skinned, big horns, dresses a bit foppish and over the top. He resides down in the lower levels of the Ember Spire.
Are there any location in the Ember Spire where a trade-off might happen?
Are you asking Faber about that?
Yeah.
What do you mean a trade-off?
I mean, it's no secret that so many goods come in through that area, and so much of it is brought in by the Ivory Syndicate. You or somebody who works with a lot of materials, have you heard of anything?
Well, after the destruction of the Hubatt Corsairs headquarters and their absence within the influences of the Ember Spire, I don't really know. I don't dabble in the Ember Spire that much. I prefer to get my goods from the market as well as the Airy Spire. I don't really know anyone down there.
Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And
Listen, do you and your friends want these? They're his arms. They're pretty much done. He was supposed to come back for his fitting. I don't think that that's going to happen. Would you like to take them?
I think we ought to take the arms, because we could look. If we take the arms, we could have a bargaining chip for a reason to want to meet with this Crimp fella. We came across some material for a robot, and we want to barter it.
Would
the terminology is Warforged. Just putting it out there.
That's fine.
My only concern is, would this guy's handiwork be traced back to him if somebody like Crimp sees it?
It's good work, but it's not necessarily marked in any way. I mean, unless Crimp has magical means to trace it, I mean, it could be traced magically. But there's no immediate sign that it would be physically traceable just on its surface.
Okay.
Well, we're not also trying to say that we're also not trying to say that we bought these arms from this guy for this purpose. We came across the arms.
Out of curiosity, is there any way a non-Warforged could use those arms temporarily?
No, they have to be riveted to the internal socketry of a Warforged, and then the connections of the fluids that allow them to function. No, these are
Okay, so
unfortunately-
there's no like secret like go something that we could. Okay, well, I had to try ask.
Yes, there. Were you in a way asking me if I could put Warforged arms on your physical person?
I mean, not mine because I'm so dainty, but maybe somebody else.
Oh, I mean, there's always been augments done to enhance some people's loss of a limb or suffering from a specific trauma, but these arms, unfortunately, not. They were curated and made specially for a Warforged.
I understand. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Of
We
course.
will bring Trauma back to you, and he will have his really cool arms.
Yes, of course you will. He kind of hands the arms off over to Professor Albatross and Eritrea by size alone. They're quite heavy. Each of you taking an arm. Well, if you need any armor or augments or anything done to your weapons, feel free to come and find me, and I'd be glad to help you if I could.
Thank you.
Of course.
Okay, when we leave, I tell them everything I know about Javin Soot, everything I heard them talk, and if there is any indication in any of part of the conversation that might tell us where the trade-off was that he was talking about with Regina.
Yeah, not much info there. Some mentioning of the Ember Spire, some mentioning of the Chandei Quorum as a potential target, something about maybe creating an explosion, taking credit for the explosion that occurred in the Ember Spire. It's kind of a very rudimentary summary of what sounds like a plot, some kind of potential plot to take out the Chandei Quorum.
Now, we're nearby Fabian's place, right? He seemed to have some connections with people around here. Perhaps he might know someone we could barter information with in the Chandei Quorum.
Kind of look over at Melody, who seems to have a way.
I'm always happy to visit Fabian. It sounds like he was saying we need to talk to someone at the Ivory Syndicate, though, if we want to find Crimp. Or
Yeah,
are
I think
we?
he wants us to go to Jarvan Suit.
Yeah, I mean, I
That's
imagine
solid.
if the Chandei Quorum runs Jrusar, right? So they're head honcho around here. My thought was if they really are as ingratiated through this place as they say they are, perhaps they would have some ins and outs to know who lives, who stays where, or at least thereabouts. And we have some knowledge now that there's an expected attack on the Chandei Quorum. We could barter that information for more information on our side, and perhaps we both come to some kind of a mutual benefit.
That makes sense.
But I don't have any connections to the Chandei Quorum except they want to arrest me every time I meet them.
That also makes sense.
I just assume Fabian might have connections.
Well, he certainly enjoys his conversations with Melody. I would say if you feel like putting the charm on again.
I actually think he enjoys the conversations with Eritrea more, from what I've But maybe we could head on up and have a conversation with him.
Okay, throughout this. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Jalbatros. This script
Excuse
guy
me.
is.
If you wouldn't mind, Professor, please. I work with school for-
Jesus! Wow. Okay, I'm sorry, Professor, sir.
I earned my titles.
Okay, Mr. PhD.
Anti-lit.
It seems like the script guy specializes in the same thing as you do, which is artificing.
I have nothing to do with artificing. I am a scholar, and as I mentioned,
Yeah, like an archaeology, like ancient archaeology artificing, right?
I look for things. I do not build them. That's far beyond my skills. I dig things up. I learn about the cultures of the area, and I present it to museums and write books about it. I do not make useful things. That's far beyond mine.
You've clearly never met an elf, have you? Because you'd be digging up all their stuff. They would not be happy with that.
Well,
they've been around here a long time.
Listen, Indiana Jones, we can talk about this later. We can talk about the amorality of Indiana Jones a little later, but right now.
Yeah, but I do not know that I care for that implication. I had spells as students. I'm not a particularly religious bird myself, but I was born into a family that observes religious practices for Arian Fairnev, the trickster god of the
Exandria Jones.
Where do you, sell them? Where do you sell the goods? I'm sorry, donate them to a museum, but like through where? Is there some kind of channel that somebody like him might use as well that we might connect to?
I know this is going to be a bit difficult to believe. I work under the strict permission of the cultures in whose area I excavate in. I am not a vandal. I am not a thief. I work at their invitation. When I was looking at the gnome ruins outside the city, I was doing so based on a grant from a university on the other side of the city there. I believe that they all escaped back to my plane, but yes, I don't sell them. What kind of immoral monster do you think I am, sir?
You dress very
the
nice.
the usual one.
The usual one.
So, okay, even though you don't partake in this yourself, are you aware of any artificer channels that somebody else might use, or would go? Do you know a little bit about what they would go? How they would go about it?
I am not sure I like the implication.
No, I'm not implying anything. I get it. You're not doing it, but do you know how somebody who would do it?
No, I am purely a researcher. I study facts and I give them to the cultures that invited me. What? Why
Okay,
do you
well that's
assume-
nice.
Do you ask every new person here if they're a thief?
Guys, watches.
Look,
Professor
she's
Just puffing up.
look.
You're protesting a lot for a very basic question, so now a little bit.
I do not like the implications you're putting out there.
Professor, I apologize. Our friend Corinna here is
Also, can you please call me Sour Ron?
Sauron.
Sauron. Our friend Sauron here.
I don't believe I've met this person.
Whatever.
I know
you certainly have, but our friend Sauron here is a bit more on the nefarious side of things, so she's always there. I apologize. Oh my! God. You know what? I'm just gonna, and I turn around and walk out of the shop.
Yeah, man, I hope you don't take this poorly. I think I should tag along with you. You seem like a group of young people that really ought to have adult supervision.
Professor, I think you're going to love Fabian. I think he might remind you of your husband.
I'm just like, do that that owl thing where my head turns like 270 degrees, just like.
He has a wonderful sense of style.
I mean, I'm always okay. I just agreed to go with you again. Nothing against you personally, Miss Melody. You seem like a well put together young woman, but I believe you could do with some adult supervision. I honestly thought I was done with this permission slips and all. All right, let's
Guys, kind of all
Let's go.
quietly make your way out of the shop.
Outside.
And say that again.
Oh, Sour Ron is gonna stay outside because he and Fabian, he doesn't want he doesn't want to repeat location, and also I would like to talk to my crow real quick.
Okay. So you linger outside of the Silver Time while everybody else kind of funnels into the Silver Time. Fabian is currently standing there looking at some dress attire that's on a rack. He's got a big glass of red wine in his hand, and you can see the bottle resting on a table, chairs pulled up but empty. He's like admiring the frock of the item that he's looking at, and then oh, hello. Is it my favorite one to... Oh, you brought a new friend, and where's that big ATM machine that travels with you? He's not... He owes me a hat, I think. Unfortunately, the wrong hat was given to him. He was supposed to take that hat. And Fabian points up on the rack where another huge foppish hat with a feather in it, like hanging off the rack, and just kind of steps between Foreign and Melody. Eritrea, you look quite upset. Are you all right? He throws his arm around your shoulder, kind of guides you over, sits you in a chair. Let me get you a glass of wine. Goes over, pours a glass of wine, hands it to you, and just sits there at the other chair, staring at you, concerned. Concern written all over his face. Are you okay? You seem fraught and distraught.
I don't think you'll be getting that hat back.
Oh, well,
Trump
why
is
not?
gone.
Oh, he left? Oh, he's gone.
Yes.
Oh, my.
And we're trying to get a little bit of information, because as you saw, he was manufactured.
Well, he was also a bit of chaos, wasn't he?
Yes, but there was a chaos we loved, and he helped us and protected us.
Oh,
And
well.
We're trying to find who potentially has his parts. I think it'll help provide us some sort of closure.
His parts.
Yes,
So you saw
remains.
his physical remains.
we did. We saw them being carried away and sorted.
By whom?
Crib.
Oh, interesting. Well, that's very interesting.
Look, I'm gonna cut to the chase here. We came
I'm
here.
sorry, were you chasing me or was I chasing you?
Good luck. Everything that chases me winds up dead, and it's not me that causes it. As I was saying, cutting to the chase here, we have some information we'd like to exchange in hopes that we might find our way directed towards this crimp fella.
Yes, Crimp. What do you know of this Crimp? What have you heard? And I will fill in the blanks for you.
Well, my friend Ron here has seen him.
Oh, yes.
No, Ron is not here.
Yeah, it's just the four of you.
No.
Sour Ron is lingering
No.
out front of the Silver Time.
Well, so my friend Ron here. Where?
Ron
Where's-
is outside for the moment. Ron is outside.
You've
Well-
all seen him.
Ron's seen him. Believe he's communicated with him. We've only seen him from a distance. Eccentric looking fella. Gears and stuff.
Yes, quite so. Look, I would be a liar if I said I liked Trauma. I mean, I enjoyed his company. He was quite funny, and he was very uniquely built and had some interesting things about him. But he was a bit on the chaotic side. I like predictability in my life. I like long walks in the moonlight, the understanding of a good meal, and going to a good theater where creatures don't burst out of the stage and try to eat you. Sorry. Anyways.
Wait. What was that?
Nothing to worry about. Just a dalliance, an involvement of sorts. Look, Crimp has a very aggressive reputation. He is a master artificer, but not in the type of tinkering and fusions that you would think a normal artificer would be involved with. He is very much he's called an augmenter. He takes things and rearranges them and splices them and reorganizes them and adheres and bisects and vivisects and studies the organic and inorganic materials that can be combined to make or enhance creatures' abilities or individual abilities. Needless to say, all of his activities are quite illegal here in Jrusar, and it has been said that he is wanted in Amon. He's also wanted in Nicodranus, and I believe there's a bounty on his head in Vasselheim. Currently, he resides here in Jrusar because, well, frankly, if you're an asshole or you're wanted by the law or you simply want to exist within your own way of living your life, well, that's why you are here in Jrusar, is it not?
Sure.
Yeah, that was quite the roundabout.
Now, what got Crimp involved with the High Council in Amon was his proclivity of being obsessed with the remains of Fae and using those remains to conduct experiments.
I kind of just like put my arm on Oren's shoulder to kind of like caress his shoulders because I have a feeling this might trigger him a little bit.
Yeah, you can see that he's gotten very quiet and is breathing like deep breaths, like he's about to. Yeah,
I'm just like kind of rubbing his shoulder. And
my most interesting information that I acquired about Crimp through a Chandei Quorum associate of mine, he's pretty good, and his information is quite reliable. Crimp recently made a bargain with House Treshy and acquired a great many Fae products and Fae items and Fae remains. Evidently, House Treshy have a new person in their staff that has been very fixated and focused on the recovery of Fae folk that are still alive, who are seeking assistance in finding their way to safety. However, the same individual seems to be helping in other ways as well. Now, Crimp has also recently been hired by the Ivory Syndicate to make physical enhancements to some of their better, there's nothing worse than a person who lacks morals who's given the ability to do things better than others simply because they lack morals. But they were recently hired to do some augments to the soldiers of the Ivory Syndicate. Some even say this was a side effect of the recent collapse of the Hubatt Corsairs. Through those augments and through the strengthening of their own people, this is how they were able to take out the Hubatt Corsairs. As far as I know, somewhere in the Ember Spire, he keeps a laboratory where he conducts his experiments and conducts his plans and his profiteering of the remains of people. Now, if I had my best guess, he would probably be in what's called the Quarter Ward of the Ember Spire. It's very dangerous and a very heart of the criminal empire that is currently at war with each other. Wardens do not go there. The Hubatt Corsairs called that a bit of their territory, but now it's become a bit of a free zone, a wild area, because the Hubatts have receded from their territory within the Ember Spire. And rumor has it that a organization called the Twisted Blade, as well as the Ivory Syndicate and the Bloody Eye, are currently fighting over the remains of the Hubatt Corsairs territory there. If I was Crimp and I needed a steady supply of body parts, why not be set up in the midst of a gang war?
What was this about House Treshy and their proclivity for the Fae? Look, we have other. Glances over at Melody. We have other connections with that as well.
So my understanding, through my contact with Chandei Quorum, is that recently the Hellcatch Valley has become a bit of a powder keg. It would appear that a particular person of power is claiming hereditary title of the throne of the kingdom of the Hellcatch Valley. Now, it's never been exactly a, how shall we say, a contested heritage. Most people don't want anything to do with the Hellcatch. It is nothing more than a breeding ground of criminal gangs, smugglers, slavers, and people who are quite not on what you would call everybody's good list. However, recently, through an auction, I believe, that was supposed to happen at the Greymakers, and by the way, didn't take place, but there was an individual who was attempting to establish their title to King's Fall, the capital city of Hellcatch Valley. Now, Bassaris is known as the more crossroads port and crossroads city within the middle of the Hellcatch, but King's Hall technically is where the seat of power resides within the Hellcatch. It's been in a simmering civil war for well over a century, different families vying for control of the throne, so to speak. Well, supposedly, there is a bloodline connection of Fae within this family in King's Hall. Supposedly, they had laid claim that they had access to the Feywild once again, so that they could finally prove their Fey bloodline and take control of King's Hall, and therefore be established the first reigning kingdom of the Hellcatch Valley, and look for legitimacy within their rulership. Now,
They're claiming that they can access the Fae now, or that they want to do that in the future.
I think they want to do it, and they claim to have come across an object that was supposedly supposed to help them do that. Unfortunately, that object was sundered, parts of it stolen, and its side effects were, well, all for those to see in the Greymaker's auction house.
We might know something about that.
I somehow don't doubt it. The Treshies are contenders. They have a connected bloodline to King's Hall, or King's Fall. My understanding is the Treshies have been trying to prove that the Fey bloodline does not exist within the true heritage of the King's Fall, and that they are attempting to find proof of that. This simmering war between different members of families throughout the Hellcatch and the Odorland Wilds has been back and forth for some time now. It's always been an interest of mine because, well, King's Hall sits in the area known as the Rift, and there's also located near the Gujar Sari, as well as the Avishi community, and I have trade with them from time to time. Needless to say, if a civil war were to ever break out directly between the families, the Rift is certainly where it would occur, causing a great deal of headache for proprietors such as myself. If I know Crimp, he's probably involved. I know he's taken some leaning towards the Treshies. I know that he has been working with the Ivory Syndicate, and he does his own research in the Ember Spire. Look for him in the Quarter Ward. I think that's where he is. But be mindful, it is a bloodbath over there.
Appreciate the information.
Of course.
And
I do feel bad that your friend may have passed on. I hope you're at least able to recover him and discover how it happened and have some closure.
Thank you. Now, as to the exchange of information, as I promised that we would give as much as we take.
Oh, yes.
My friend,
What juicy tidbits do you have for me, Thorn?
there is some word on the street that Ivory Syndicate is getting ready to make a play against the Chandei Quorum.
Fascinating. That would be a bold play indeed.
It
You watch as
involves-
a quill animates, a journal opens, and as you talk, the quill is kind of scribbling into the journal.
I give him the secondhand information from Karina about Jrusar and Regina and this plan to have some kind of attack against the Chandei Quorum.
Fascinating. We've had a move against House Loomis. We've had a move against the Hubatt Corsairs. We had the explosion in the Ember Spire. And now we have this rumor of moving against the Chandei Quorum. I think somebody is making a very large effort to destabilize Jrusar.
Now,
What advantage would they gain from that?
why they would get all of Jrusar.
Would they, or would they just get a big pile of messes? Jrusar's a large city. No one's ever going to supplant or replace the Chandei Quorum. Simply won't happen. The noble families will always buy their ways out of their troubles. This place is too big for a single group to rule. Simply not possible.
What about
Frankly-
Jaman
go ahead.
Sword?
Yes, Jaman Sa'ord's little arrival. Well, they have their own particular problem. They are trying to express upon others within the Council of the Quorum that they should go about a different way of allowing power to exist within Jrusar. They want them to join the united front of kingdoms made up of Vasselheim, Amon, Nicodranus, and the other kingdoms of Exandria. Ever since the near destruction of Exandria and the final destruction of Ludinus Deleth, the unified front of the different powers that be have been very insistent that the only way to avoid these problems in the future is to, well, join forces. The only problem with Jrusar is that it's full of criminals and people who simply don't give a shit, and the only thing they care about is money and the power that comes with it. Listen, Jaman Sa'ord is making a valiant effort. I think they are sick of losing friends and going to war. And I think they do have a vested interest in having Ank'Harel be the capital of a new unified Marquet, but I just don't see the coastal empire of the Shamel, or I just can't imagine the Panagrip or the Ashenador falling in step with this idea of unification. Everyone agrees that Ank'Harel is the capital of old Marquet and the idea before the Stratos War, but for the most part, that's just too much friction, too much fracture. A unified Marquet, in my opinion, as much as I admire their attempt, is a futile attempt. A waste of time, waste of money, for sure.
Well, thank you for that. Now, one last time, this thing about monsters exploding out of a stage.
Theatrics. I was just pontificating on a particular theater performance that I thought was a little over the top.
And we're roll insight against it.
Sure, go for it.
Oh, it's not terrible. That's 12.
You get the feeling he's lying, but he has no interest in expanding on the lie.
Well, look here. And I'll reach into my coat and pull out a talisman. If we find any other information about this supposed attack on the quorum, if you keep this on your person, I'll be able to pass the information along.
Of course. He takes it. What is it?
Hair.
Oh, for fuck's sake, that's disgusting. Drops it into his pocket.
I braided it on purpose. Yeah, I realize it's odd.
Well, you were
but
very
at least
specific. Hair is a very kind of generalized term of what produces on your body.
it's hair off my head. Sorry.
Oh, well, okay. Well, that sounds better, but seems worse. Very well.
I think Dr. Jalvatros is just going to kind of poke in over by. Are you still in Sauron form, or are you in?
Yeah, Sauron is lingering out front of the.
I was
of
gonna
the
see if while
or
they're
the door.
talking, I could just talk to my crow real quick in one of the alleyways.
Okay. So before
Um,
Professor Albatross looks in on you, you would have had a good 15 or 20 minutes that what was going on inside the Silver Time at that point.
Evil. So last night you
Yes, mistress. Well, yeah, good to hear from you.
last night you were instructed to stay outside of the auction hall and report
Yes.
if anybody else has come through or if you happen to see the people who processed the Shimmerling as they were leaving.
Oh, well, I'm not wanting to lose track, mistress, of what your instructions and your orders were. I felt a good meal consuming a dead cat for beginners was a
You
good
just
way
ate
to
a Shimmerling eye. Oh my
I
god.
know. I'm always hungry. You know this. But anyway,
Relatable
I
problems.
lingered late into the night, and there was an individual who was skulking about. I followed them back towards the Ember Spire and back towards a place that I overheard someone call the Quarter, the Quarter Ward or something like that. I'm not too familiar with you humanoid type languages. There was a bit of a scuffle and an exchange of magic, and it was quite a violent scene. I enjoyed it immensely. And as soon as that was over, I'm currently in the Quarter Ward, perched up on a very tall building, watching the area.
Can you describe to me what the skulker looked like?
Oh,
As he goes on to describe, this person sounds very much like. Pull up your folder. Sounds very much like a individual that you might have a vested interest in. Trafar Airswift,
Oh,
a member of the Ivory Syndicate that you guys believe probably killed Karina, nearly killed Thorn, and managed to escape before you guys could capture him.
man, double whammy on vengeance
time.
today.
As he was skulking about, he got into a fight with a couple individuals, killed them, dragged their bodies off into an alleyway, and then skulked about a bit and then disappeared.
Do you remember what the individuals he fought with looked like?
Oh, they looked like pure rotten scallywags. Just our type.
I see. Please keep an eye on him.
Of course, I'll continue to look for him if I see him. Things are very tense here. There seems to be a druid in the middle of a square with a staff with dead rabbits hanging from it, and a group of people calling themselves the Englishmen facing off against the gang of dead rabbits. I don't know. They seem to be going back and forth, back and forth. They fight and then they disappear.
No priest anywhere, is it?
No, it's a druid. I just said, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to.
Druid. Well, please keep an eye on this individual, and if anything happens out of the regular, please let me know.
I will immediately finish my meal of whatever I was eating, and then I will let you know, of course.
Thank you. Okay, then
And-
back.
Yeah, at that moment, Professor Thaddeus kind of sticks his head out the doorway to see you standing there outside the shop.
Is everything okay, Sauron? That was. I don't know. There's something about this Fabian. Eredriel is far too young for him, right? Like, I get the vibe. Like, I don't want to. I don't know what.
Professor
the
Albatross,
culture-
Albatross is having a cringe moment.
Yeah, This is
In like a different in a different story.
If you wouldn't mind, I know that I haven't known you lovely people all that long, but I am a mandatory reporter. If you want to tell Mr. Eritrea, I can handle this this gentleman behind us. He's making me very uncomfortable.
I will let Eritrea know that you are somebody that he can come to if he is feeling uncomfortable.
I appreciate that. This...
So other than Fabian being inappropriate, what else was going on there?
I think that's a question for you, Thaddeus.
Oh, my bad. I apologize. I thought that was a general direction. I am so far. Apparently, there was some kind of incident at a Harlequin performance last night. I don't know what was going on. There's a bunch of internal politics that is far over my head.
That does kind of beg a question. We are about to talk to pretty questionable individuals, and you do seem like somebody who sticks to the, a straight and narrow, so to speak. Do you want to come with us? And if so, can we trust you to not be a spy?
I mean, I believe I told your companions. I was not joking. I do think you need some adult supervision here.
Okay, but assuming that we're not looking for a babysitter just this moment.
Oh no! I don't. Not to that level. Just how to put this delicately.
If you're looking to be our one brain cell.
Some members of your entourage seem to make extremely poor decisions frequently. And I think having a moderating wing on it might help them not die. I've never lost a student at one of my digs. I know you're not here, but it feels basically the same.
A fair point. At the same time, what can you offer us now that to be part of our team, Professor? Now that we are going to a pretty dangerous location.
Is there a boulder, a rock, just a large piece of rubble around?
I would say there's a large stone bench out in front of. I mean, keep in mind you're in the Lucid Spire, which is kind of like the noble and hoity-toity area of all the spires. So everything here is beautiful and well curated. There's a large stone planter. There's a stone bench. There's lots of heavy objects around.
I don't wish to. We seem to be quite a. I don't want to cast aspersions, but it seems to be a maintained high cluster. If there's anything that has some. Well, can I just kind of check my pocket, see if I have any rocks or just anything that I might be able to throw in the air?
Like all dusty old professors, you've probably got a little bit of.
I have a 3-day-old apple in my
from one of your recent digs.
Yeah, so I just launch it in the air. It's like, well, watch that stone. Just toss it in the air, and then I just throw a sacred flame at it.
Oh.
Slams into it. The stone.
Also,
why didn't you say so earlier? Okay, yeah. You're one of us. One of us.
Also, again, I don't know much about mammalian physiology. I'm a doctor of literature and archaeology, but I mean, muscles are muscles, and you see him strike some Mr. Universe poses, here's some threads popping on his sweater vest.
So that's kind of another question. Okay, why do you want to go with us to those very dangerous places to save a being you haven't met?
Well, for starters, that's the moral thing to do. Another thing is this annoying god that has me in its employ probably wants me there. Isn't that right, Rimness?
Ooh.
Yeah, just kind of look and see if there's something, a light or a feather or something.
I
You
look up.
around. You're like
God,
he's
you're like
very,
your trio. You're talking to the sky.
yeah, like he's very intentional, and he's looking around as he says that name out. The only thing that happens is like a seagull flies by, right, and a little bit of poop hits the ground, and then flies off.
Well, I guess it's true what they say. Don't trust people with wings. They're very weird. Um,
You know what? I'll give you that one. I'll give you that.
you and your trio will be fast friends, I'm sure.
Someone needs to watch out for that boy.
Professor, could you help us with these giant arms?
Oh, absolutely. Miss-
Melody's just
Melody.
like dragging an arm out of the store.
The silver time.
Just goes over and picks one up and says, absolutely, of course.
As you guys gather up in front of the silver time, where would you like to go to next?
I
It's
tell them,
now late afternoon, the beginnings of early evening. The streamer lanterns are beginning to pop on. The nighttime vibe of the city is beginning to kind of flicker into existence. The gondolas are taking on that lighted look as they swing between different platforms. The sun's maybe half an hour away from setting.
there is another way we might be able to get Crypt to us. And now that we know where he is, maybe we can even try to arrange some kind of trap for him. I hate to suggest this, but if he is a collector of Fey goods, he might be interested in the painting we have, or we might be able to create some kind of rumor that we have something that he might be interested in. Other than that, we can just try to go to the quarters and see if we know anything about where he is. I have heard earlier today, I didn't have a chance to tell you that, but when Regina was talking to that other guy, they also mentioned, and I tell them what Evil told me.
Okay.
Why would you? Go ahead.
I want to ask you, Forn, how you're feeling about all of this. If the Fae are so sought after, how do you feel going into this type of environment?
Sounds like I got a lot of people to kill. I mean, just being frank.
Yes.
Look, if anyone's going to put the Fae in danger, I will end them.
It sounds like the quarter ward is. It sounds like the quarter ward's pretty dangerous. I don't know if we want to go at night. I like Karina's idea, but it seems like Crimp always travels with this big retinue of helper guys, and maybe we're better off sneaking up and just trying to sneak trauma out rather than a direct confrontation with Crimp.
I would also, I mentioned perhaps setting up residence in the Smolder Spire, and that didn't go well. Also, setting a trap for Crimp. Where would we set the trap, right? Because definitely would not want to endanger our Bullywog neighbors. I, at least, would not want to endanger our Bullywog neighbors. I don't know about the rest of you.
I would be worried of the attention you would attract there for it. And frankly,
Well,
as
I'm not the
difficult
only
as this-
Fae. I like glancing over at Melody.
Yes.
I mean, typically I can pass as an elf. Well, I pass as something human looking.
I mean, we could try to, use this to our advantage and see if somebody who would like to sell to him might try to follow and ambush one of you. I mean, It's risky, but if we're prepared, we might be able to pull it off. Alternatively, we can also just look blindly and see what we find. I am concerned. I assume you guys told me what Fabian told you guys?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I am concerned by the information that he is an augmenter, that he has now parts of trauma. That sounds horrifying, and if he does end up using them in one of his creations, we might not be able to do anything past that point.
Well, you mentioned he had a duplicate of trauma, right? So I can't imagine he would want to do anything other than build another one.
The trauma was different, right? The other thing was like a machine. Trauma
The
was...
the other one seemed to lack the kind of sentient nature of trauma.
Trauma was
mean-
special because of the bump on his head.
It just feels like we don't have much time. I think a lot of us resent him on the basic objection that he seems to be messing up with the natural order in like a pretty disgusting way, specifically for you guys who are Fae. He seems pretty central and kind of the best lead we have to a lot of shady dealings. I don't know. We can do a risky play and move fast, or we can try and plan something. If we do try and plan something, I have to tell you, I will be trying to go on my own and see if I can sneak out trauma.
Well, I would suggest perhaps trying to not go on your own, at least with an Overwatch. I mean, remember what happened last time.
I'll be careful this time.
I don't mean to bring it up in the negative, but you know, we specifically have nearly died multiple times, or died at least once, and trauma is, for all we know, dead. So,
If we're going, why don't we go together? I mean, I can disguise myself. No one's really looking for us down there, and that way, if something goes wrong, we're close.
I was just going to say, I would hope, unknown to these parties. Let's be honest, I'm not going to pass for much else, so this might be your one opportunity to sneak me in. But
I don't actually mean this negatively, Professor, but frankly, your pass is a mark. So if you were to go ahead of us, and if we were able to remain somewhat nonchalant about it, whatever was to initiate against you, we would be able to offer the backup support.
I'm as street smart as any other bird, but I do take
It's not about that. It's about...
You do stand out a little bit.
No, I understand. I understand that, absolutely. Yes. But I
also go ahead.
That's all.
I was gonna say, I wonder if Fabian can recommend any. I believe we should probably try to blend in this quarter, and we may need new gear to do that. And I don't think Fabian's shop is that type of place, but he may know someone that can get us some wares that will help us blend in there.
I mean, I've got the talent to make myself look different, and I mean, it's how I got past the guards earlier for the whole auction thing.
I mean, they say he works with the Ivory Syndicate, so we could just do our best to look like Ivory Syndicate, but Ivory Syndicate don't walk around with big symbols on their chests.
Does Karina have any... Because Karina's has the feature, the feat of acting, which is supposed to be good at pretending to be other people. Does that extend to other people as well? Would I have a good sense of what other people should do to disguise themselves?
I mean, you're a purveyor of duplicity. You lie a lot. You disguise a lot. You're a pretty ne'er-do-well character. You could share some of that ability with others to allow them to gain advantage on deception checks or performance checks to kind of guide them into disguises that you think might work better.
Okay, so we can maybe go to like slightly seedy store and get some clothes, and I'll do my best to help with makeup and stuff, and tell people how to how they walk and carry themselves. I don't know. Hey, whatever goes into doing that, I guess.
Tuck in those haunches.
Yeah, look shadier. Pretend you're holding a big knife.
I mean, okay.
Pretty shady, so I don't know what more I can do, but yeah. Do we want to just... I mean, another option is we can go to the Genasi who killed me, and we can kind of get hold of him and see if we can get the information out of him. I mean, I do have a sense that he would know where Crypt is. He seemed up to date. Or
You mean
we can just look around and see if we find any good indication of where Crypt might be.
Do you would your token still be on trauma foreign? And would there be any way to see?
Oh.
as long as he didn't drop it, yeah, the token should be still on him, and I could activate it, but I could only do it once to see and hear from that location. That's why I thought perhaps if we got closer to the area where we suspect they may be,
maybe if we get into
some frame of reference, because right now he could be anywhere in Jrusar, and without a frame of reference, I wouldn't be able to narrow down where perhaps we are.
Maybe if we get into the quarter ward and take it from there.
At least nearby. Look, if we get near the quarter ward, I have an idea that can help perhaps frame us in terms of location, but it also will draw some attention.
What is the idea?
If we get down near the quarter ward, I can set up a blank in my pistol. I can't fire it because I can't act while I'm looking through the token. But if I was to go into the token and one of you fire my pistol, it'll make enough. Theoretically, it makes enough noise that if he's nearby, we could tell the rough direction from which the sound was to where we are, and roughly how far away we might be.
Yeah, honestly, perfect plan. Let's get going.
Ford, you impressed me.
Well, last time I had a plan like this, we blew up half the smolder spire. So
maybe we'll blow up the whole thing this time.
I could do a thunderous smite, which is audible for 300 feet if we need a backup.
I need to point out, like, at this point, just to avoid, like, absolutely just being compelled to drag all of you into the nearest consul's office, I'm in a deep discussion with Fabian, just like, really? That's where you source your silks? That's... I never would have guessed.
So...
let's
fire we go.
Let's put our shady little cloaks and get going to another dangerous situation
that we are severely underprepared for.
You guys spend the last bit of sunset and early evening traversing the night market. The night market, which is in the core spire, kind of a tax-free zone where people sell their goods in a kind of illicit vibe. You procure whatever garments that you'd like to use for the nighttime journey into the quarter ward of the Smolder Spire. Its question is, do you wait for it to be later? Do you go when it could possibly be still a little bit busy with traffic coming and going from the Smolder Spire? What's the timing wise that you guys want to go do this?
Melody would definitely rather do it earlier we can.
Yeah.
Like right away or earlier in the day?
Like as soon as possible, we head that direction.
Yeah.
My only note on that would be maybe it would be easier to steal from Crypt if he's asleep.
Do we
Is
get a
there-
sleeping at night kind of vibe from Crim?
Do we get a sleeping
Not
at
really.
all?
I mean, there's
Do we get a
I
sleeping
mean-
at all kind of vibe?
yeah, there's definitely something weird about this dude. Yeah.
Oh god. Well, yeah, no, he does look like he's downing energy drinks, I guess.
I feel like rather personally attacked right now.
There you are. There's a cat on your shoulder.
No, he's fine. This is a different kind of criminal. He steals things. He's not a violent one.
Everybody give me deception checks with advantage because Karina is hi doggo.
She's like, all right.
Karina is kind of shady splaining the whole time. Like, no, do this, don't wear it like this. You look too much like a goody two shoes, like that. It's like Karina is like guiding you on how to put your outfit together.
I'm gonna also. Well, wait.
You said it was
That's
Deception.
a 19.
deception? Okay.
And
yeah,
I have
deception
advantage.
with advantage.
And I generally have advantage on deception now, which I'm very excited for. I
Ooh,
will
nice.
use this in the worst ways possible.
Okay.
And that's a 20.
All right.
I got-
20 for
I got
Karina.
A 16 for Melody.
Okay.
15 for
Dr.
one.
Jelvatros has a 19.
15, 19. Eritrea, what'd you get?
18.
18. Altogether, not too bad.
The lowest roll
Um,
there.
These are the DCs for anyone trying to make insight checks on you at this point. So this represents how well you've kind of put on the gear. As you guys take the gondola ride over to the Smolder Spire, you get into the Smolder Spire. Unfortunately, the gondola platform that you're forced to have to get onto is the one that is currently under construction. There's an overall sense of memory once here. The char on the spire, the stacks of debris still yet to be cleared. There's very much a sense of you've been here before and it's difficult to walk through it. But before long, you are no longer in the gondola platform. You're now deeper into the Smolder Spire. There's fewer people here. There's a sense of people staying away from you. They see how you're dressed. They take one look at you and they kind of avoid you. Deeper into the Smolder Spire, you find your way. With evil guiding you mentally. Before long, you guys are kind of cloistered together in a very kind of dark, rundown alley. It's a little bit cool tonight, damp. A sense of moisture collecting on the walls, that smell of wet garbage and wet sewage filling your nostrils as this place looks very dilapidated, very run down. Pretty much a feeling of like a slum-like environment, open sewers in the alleyway. You watch as a nearby body in the streets is swarmed by gutter rats that kind of, they all stop, their little noses and beady eyes looking around, and then they scatter for some reason. This place feels lost. With all the other opportunity in Jrusar, here feels like the criminal heart of what best represents Jrusar. And you can see people skulking about. Karina, you look up, and on a third story, kind of like a third story roof, you can see the shadowy outline of evil, just kind of, his crow form looking around and kind of keeping an eye on things. It's late. It's dark. It's damp. It smells like shit. There's lots of buildings, lots of squatting, and lots of just reminders of just how poor this place is. What would you guys like to do?
Shall we set the plan in motion here?
I also have one last deception. I don't know if it would make enough noise, but I do have one last deception. What was it called again? Sorry.
Stealth rock?
Yeah.
Stealth stone?
Stealth stone. If we want to try and do that so it doesn't the sound doesn't lead directly to us.
Stealth stone is effective within 30 feet.
That's not enough. Yeah, we should do the gun. Or if you want to give me your gun, I can go a little bit further away from you, so I can try and stealthily go back.
Sure.
One of the things Dr. Jones can do is, if you'd like, I can fly up and either use my my thaumaturgy to like make a booming call or a phantom sound from another direction, so that it kind of draws attention away from you guys, especially from a higher level. Damn it, Houdini.
I do like the idea of having more than one sound. It will help us triangulate, perhaps, where we are.
So how about we let's try to draw a quick map based on what we understand of the area and decide on key locations to make sounds in.
Well, yeah, okay.
Yeah, sure. I can do thaumaturgy as well. I could do a different sound if we wanted to spread out.
Okay, we might just be able to cover and I guess let's decide on different sounds for different locations.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this will help at all with this, but I would like to bless Born, Karina, and Melody. Well, and I can do Professor Joe, so I'll do it at a second level. And can I also give them guidance too?
Bless is a concentration spell.
Oh, okay. So
you give one. Well, if you give someone guidance and one you cast bless, it goes away. So unfortunately, they are not able to stack.
I'll do bless on everybody. So cast that.
Gives everyone 10 minutes worth of D4 for saves and D4 for attack rolls.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome.
I guess we all put our hands in. 3, 2, 1, go team.
Yeah.
I've given you
centaurs.
As I fiddle with it for a minute because I've taken the shot out because all I want is the noise. So it's just a blank basically, and I hand off as I'm handing off the pistol. I'll say Tangus, please serve me well, and I handing off the pistol to you.
So positionally, standing from the alleyway, the slums of this area are made up mostly of ad hoc housing, like old warehouses that have been converted into very kind of rundown residences. You could also see old factories that have been shut down, these artisan factories, like an old smithy that's been shut down, an old kind of mill that would be used to mill wood has been shut down here. There are also big, large, empty warehouses with their doors just kind of vacantly open, their ceilings partially collapsed in. Every now and then you kind of hear people scream at each other, like a scuffle, and then lost to the kind of damp echo of the night. There's definitely people here, but they're doing a pretty good job of staying out of eye and earshot.
And I'll also ask Evil to keep his eyes open for anything.
What sound is everyone making?
If we're doing Thorn's gunshot first, I'll try to make like a double rifle shot in response about 3 seconds later, something like that.
Okay.
I'm gonna do like a
power chord.
Yeah, I was gonna do like a gong or something fun, but I feel like it has to be something unobtrusive that like wouldn't tip a person off that there's something going on. So I think I'd do like a guy going like ah.
This is I'm still somewhat in evil mode, but I kind of, if I were still playing an evil character, I would personally do something like a loud guitar riff or something, and then gunshots follow it as response.
So Karina has the pistol. Professor is going to make the sound of the double gunshot. Melody is going to make the sound of a struggle. Air Trio, what is your sound going to be?
I think I got nothing creative. I'll just do general screaming as well.
General screaming.
Yeah.
I love it. The four of you give me stealth checks. Forn, are you going to try to put yourself in a central location, or
I'm gonna ease up. I'm gonna like ease up against the wall of an alley and like hunker down and pull the hood over my head, so I look like just a vagrant at that point.
Okay. While everyone else goes into four more precise areas of the quarter ward.
18.
Okay.
16.
I got a 7.
I got a 10.
Okay. As you guys all go off in your different directions, gotta count down the timing with. At that moment, Evil contacts you, Karina, and says that Forn is going into his condition. Sees the hood get pulled over. That's your indicator to make the first shot.
I make the first shot.
Gunshot cracks off. Forn, as you warg and connect with the token, you can see and hear, correct?
Yep. See and hear for 1 minute.
The token lies on a table amongst other small bits and bobs of parts and pieces. From there, you could see large stone vessels filled with metal parts. You could see a foundry with small mechanical creatures picking up these vessels, placing them in the heat of the foundry. You hear off in the distance. Sounds nearby. With the first gunshot, Professor, you do your sound. 2 gunshots. Born, you hear 2 light gunshots. So far, Karina might be the nearest one. Then you hear Melody's effect. Barely audible. Tells you that both Professor and Melody are not quite near at all. But then you hear the thrashing noises that Eritrea makes that are kind of halfway in between where you heard the first gunshot. At which point you watch as a silhouetted figure walks past, goes to a shabby-looking burlap sack curtain, pulls it aside to look out, and then quickly closes it. As you doff your cloak and come out of your warg state, give me a survival check with advantage because of the overall effort of the plan.
Wow. I rolled a 1 and a 20.
Hey.
All right.
Nice.
Lift those hairs. Those hairs, baby.
Whew. All right. So that's with survival, that's a 24.
Before. As you come out of the warg, and you know your friends will eventually make their way back to where you are, you glance up at the skyline. You didn't see it quite well before because of the darkness of the starlight and the fact that, you know, the backdrop is quite dark and poorly lit. But you can see a thin vapor of foundry smoke. You peer between a couple buildings. You see a tattered old sign, kind of broken and hanging from different point in front of what looks to be an old, dilapidated, and retired foundry that goes by the name Crucible Works. Get the feeling that might be the location. Eventually, as you stand there patiently, the others make their way back. On your guys' way back to where Foreign is, everyone give me fresh stealth checks on the way back.
16.
11.
1 6.
Okay, 16, 11,
3.
3.
9.
I have to roll with disadvantage.
Yeah, as the four of you gather up around Foreign, and Foreign is about to fill you in on what he noticed. All of you look up to see the silhouettes of 8 individuals on the rooftops above your alleyway that you're kind of hidden inside of. A familiar smile, the familiar pull of a bowstring.
Oh, fuck me. Evil, you were supposed to be on top of this.
That's where we're going to finish tonight.
know.
I totally forgot for us to take a break. I'm sorry. I forgot. You guys
That's
got to
all right,
remind
that's
me. I get so deep into it, I forget. Hey, everyone. Thank you for coming out and watching. Be safe, be kind, and don't forget, play a game. We will be back here next week, I believe. We're still good for next Sunday. So we'll see you all next Sunday. Good night, everybody. You guys linger so we can go over schedules, and we'll see you all next Sunday. Bye, everybody.